Whether you have long or short hair, having the option to curl or wave your hair can give you a completely new look, creating lots of texture and movement in your hair. Maybe you feel like your curling iron isn't giving you the look you want. Maybe you're not sure which iron is even right for you. If you're feeling unsure of how to use an iron or which one to use, keep watching because I'm breaking down the differences in all things curling irons. Let's go. Hello, I'm Summer. Welcome to my channel. Who doesn't love a good curl or wave style in their hair? Anytime I'm bored with my hair and unsure what to do, I'm like, wait, let me curl it, and I immediately feel better. Any of you feel that way, or just me? Curling or waving your hair allows for immediate volume, showing off your layers or color, and often leads to a lower maintenance look throughout your week. But depending on your length, preferred look you like for your curls, and iron size all play a role in how your curl will turn out. Today, I'm showing you the different looks you can get with different irons. The irons that I am using for today's video are from T3. I have their convertible base that you can change out different iron sizes should you be one like me who likes to have all the options. Iron sizes range between 1 inch, 1¼ inch, and typically don't go over 1½ inch. While the differences between each individual size might not seem great, they all can create very different looks. And before we get started, I want to know what your favorite curling iron size is. Is it 1 inch, 1¼ inch, or 1½ inch? And I'm also curious to hear if by the end of this video you agree with me on my recommendations. Typically, the longer your hair, the bigger you can go with your iron. However, a bigger iron typically creates an overall softer curl. It can often make the individual curl appear more full, but the complete look is much softer. The amount of layers you have also makes a difference in how your curls appear. For demonstration, I used a 1½ inch curling iron on these two mannequins. One has virtually no layers and the other quite a bit. On the mannequin with no layers, you can see the curls look very soft and subtle, creating more of a wave over an actual curl. And on the other mannequin, they look a bit more textured and you see more movement, but still a soft look. On my own hair and length, which my hair is fine with medium layers, it really gave an overall super soft look. I would say more of a beachy look almost. And this size iron is one I would typically never use on my own hair. It's just too big for me. An iron of this size I think is ideal for those who want a very, very soft look. You like almost more of a bend in your hair rather than a defined curl, but if you like a tighter look, steer clear of an iron of this size. Moving on to 1¼ inch. I find this size to be the most universal. This size can be used on various lengths and can be used to create different looks as well. You can get a similar soft look like a larger iron creates by simply just taking larger sections like I did here on my mannequins. Both looks, regardless of layers, are very soft like the 1½ inch, but have just a bit more texture to them. This iron size creates a bit more of a defined curl over the larger size. You can create a tighter, more defined curl by taking smaller sections and get a tighter, more textured look. Here is another comparison between my mannequins when I took smaller sections to create a more curled look that shows just even more texture throughout the hair versus when using larger sections. Longer, shorter, layers or no layers, they all still have a great end result. I prefer to use an 1¼ inch iron on myself when I want a softer, more wave style where I'm not as concerned with creating as much volume at my root. I find this size iron can create my look faster than a 1 inch, and it's the perfect option for me when I want my hair more flowy, I feel would be an ideal word for it. My upkeep through the rest of my week when I curl my hair like this is minimal. I like to use either a texture paste like AG's Dry Lift Paste or a texture spray like Surfer Girl to add a bit more texture to my hair, and at the most I will just reshape a few pieces to refresh the overall look. A 1 inch iron is pretty universal like a 1¼ inch. However, it creates a tighter curl, and I find to create the most texture in the hair, a 1 inch iron is my typical go-to as I get not only the volume I want in my root area, but it also holds throughout the week better than the 1¼ inch. Because a 1 inch starts off tighter, throughout your week as the curl drops, you will still have a bit more shape from it over starting your look off with a larger iron. If you have finer hair texture and your hair tends to lose its curl, I always recommend using a 1 inch iron. As someone with finer hair that can be stubborn when it comes to holding a curl, curl, a 1-inch iron always gives me the best results for the longest time typically. Compared to a 1¼ inch iron, the 1-inch gives me overall more volume and texture, which is why I prefer it over the 1¼ inch iron. Give me all the volume always. Here is how a 1-inch iron looks on my two mannequins. The more layered one on the left and no layers on the right, they both have much more volume in their curl regardless of the amount of layers they do or don't have. Even on longer hair, a 1-inch iron is still a great option, especially if you like a tighter curl. Like the 1¼ inch iron, you can still create a softer look by taking larger sections and using a lower heat. A lot of an iron is simply knowing how to use it and figuring out what works best for you. If you are someone with my hair length or shorter, your need for a 1½ inch curling iron, it's slim to none. It's such a large size that it's most likely going to not be very versatile for you. Personally, I feel the only people who need an iron of this size have extremely long hair, or they like the most minimal bend in their hair. It's not a size that's going to meet the needs of a lot of different people. A 1¼ inch iron is perhaps the best overall size option. You can create those softer, more flowy waves as well as tighter curls depending on the size of section you take. These are great for hair lengths, shoulder length or longer, or whether you have long hair and then cut it shorter or start off with it shorter and then grow it longer. This size iron will always perform well for you. Last but not least, a 1-inch iron is going to give you the tightest curl, most texture and volume. If you have fine hair that fights holding curl, I always suggest using a 1-inch iron as you have the best chance of your curls holding versus a larger size. I love a 1-inch for the extra volume it creates in my hair, and I always find my curls to hold the best when I use a 1-inch iron. Always be sure to use a heat protectant when curling your hair. This is extremely important, and never use too high of heat. The curling irons I use in today's video are from T3, and I will leave a link below if you want to check them out. They are one of my favorite brands, and they have held up so great as I've had them for a few years now. I will leave you with this video to check out on what tools I love and what tools I regretted buying. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.